Hey there, so I'm now going to explain to you how to use some real dice in the game. You remember that in the first video I showed you how to throw some real dice here, alright, but I didn't use those dice in the other videos. So I'm now going to show you how to use those dice when you need to roll dice here. First of all, you have to remember that whenever you are throwing a few dice here, the total of the dice will always be displayed in real time in this central top field here. Alright, so there I'm deleting all my dice using the 0 key, and now I'm rolling a new dice. For example, here I get 3 and I get a 3 in my total. Plus 1 here is 4, plus 3 here is 7. Alright? So let us now select one of our characters, for example Elphira here, and display her character sheet. And we are going to make a few checks on her perception, for example. Alright, so let us filter the perception, display the journal so we get the detail of the dice, and here we go. So you remember that when you want to roll some dice, you generally have to click on some buttons. So let's do that here to make a perception check here, and you can see that the dice roll was 10, which means that the program has randomly generated a 10. Now, how can we use our real dice in order to get our dice in this total here? Well, the rule is quite simple. As long as the total here is 0, which means that you haven't rolled any dice, then the program will consider that he's got to throw itself a random dice, a random number here. But as soon as the total would be different from 0, which means as soon as you are going to throw some real dice, then the program will use the result of those dice as a dice roll here, and it will add blindly the bonus to this total. For example, you can see here that I'm performing a few checks and I've got some different results every time, random on my dice 20. I'm going to throw to roll the dice 20. So let's say I make a 10 here, and now instead of generating a random number, the program will now use the result of my dice here 10 as a dice 20. So if I test now, I can test as long as I want, and I will always get a 10 here, to which the program will add the bonus of 7. So my result will constantly be 17 here. Still, if I roll another dice 6, then I will get only 6 all the time. As you can see, 6 plus 7 will be 13 every time. Now let's say you have to be very careful about the dice that you are rolling, because the program is not checking whether or not this total corresponds to any real formula here. So for example, if I'm rolling lots of dice here for a total of 109, and then I'm asking for a perception check, and you can see that the program will blindly take the 109, add the 7 here, for a grand total of 116. So you want to be very careful and think about resetting your dice before every roll, otherwise you will get strange results. Okay, last thing that I have to mention is that this rule is applying to any dice roll that you're going to use throughout the game. So that includes any initiative dice here. You can see that if I am, for example, rolling a dice 20 here for my initiative and I get a 14, then as I'm controlling currently Elphira, then Elphira will always get some 14 when using some initiative. You can see that 14 plus 5 is 19, and Elphira will always get 19, the same 19 for her initiative here. Alright? So never forget to change your dice for each new round. And finally, when displaying the action windows, for example here for Elphira, Then again, if you don't roll any real dice and click the OK button, then you can see that the program will be generating some random numbers, and if I want to use my dice, then I just roll the dice here. Okay, so I get a net 20. Woohoo! Lucky day. I have to erase the previous number. There is one problem here, is that if I click on the OK button, that I will be using my dice 20 here for the attempt to hit, which will give 24. Problem is that I will also be using my dice 20 for the F effect, resulting in a 25, which is absolutely wrong. So the way I corrected this is that you can roll your attempt and your effect with differently, independently, one from each other, by using those buttons here, and you can just delete the result here. So for example, if I want to use real dice for this action here from Elfira, then I want to roll first a dice 20, making a nice, and then clicking on a 9, clicking on this button. 9 plus 4 will be 13, and then I want to reset this dice and roll now a dice 8, which gave me a 1. 1 plus 5 will be 6 here, and now I can click safely my OK button, and you can see that I have tried to hit with a 13, and then if it's a success, then the effect will be a 6, and you can see that I successfully used a dice 20 and a dice 8. So remember all that. The general rule is that whenever the result here is 0, then some randomly generated number will be used, and as soon as the dice total here is not 0, then whatever it is, the dice will be used and will be added the bonus. Alright, I hope this is clear, guys. Thanks again for following those videos, and see you in the next.